Good morning. It's Saturday. We've made it to Saturday in the middle of July. And warm weather everywhere. Hotter than snot everywhere else. So, hey, it is summer. Summer 22. And we still have events going on around the world that affect us, especially things like COVID. And now that the president's got it again, or first time, or whenever, but it's brought up the question, and people are freaking out about mask mandates and stuff like that. And I don't know. What are my thoughts today? Let me see what I can think of. We've been 2.5 years onto this thing right now. And after 2.5 years reflecting back on humanity, especially America, because we're like so animated, I still kind of shake my head at the loss of common sense that people displayed over if someone was to turn around and I said it before, two people at the time 2 years ago, someone was freaking out about that we have to wear masks and it isn't that bad, and I'm going, so what you're saying is you don't trust the World Health Organization or the medical community in general. Because technically, that's what they were dealing with. They knew what Corona was, and I think I've talked about this before. They knew what Corona was, and it wasn't something to be dealt with lightly. 1, 2, it was never exposed on a wide the net was never cast wide like that globally. And so there is reason for them to freak out. There is reason for them to panic or mandate or whatever. But you know what? Based on a viral situation, and God forbid we get into something that really does, because those people that are naysayers, that really does do damage, because naysayers are going to be dropping like flies. Boy cried wolf type thing. When the World Health Organization, when people started saying, well, I bet Bill Gates is behind this, or someone's behind this, or something like, and I would just sit there and go, wait a minute, I can stand on a railroad track and have a train coming at me and sit there and scream, wait a minute, Burlington Northern is behind this. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter at all. The train's still coming at me. Okay? Those people that were freaking out about the virus and how it got here, where it came from, what we're supposed to do, and this is a big farce, and it's really not that bad, and all this. Okay, you know what? The train's still coming at you. It was the first time this virus was exposed on a multi-generational, multi-level across the globe. Some people it affected mortally, some people it affected lightly. But the fact is that it did. Okay? They didn't know. All they knew is what it could do from what they had seen before. Okay? They had seen it when it got spread, when Corona got spread before, and that worried them enough to do that. And at that point, even at that point, I can still think back and go, you know what? If I walked into a hospital where my loved one, at that point, with little knowledge, I could walk into a hospital and the nurse, of all people, who isn't a doctor, they just following protocol, would turn around and say, can you mask up because your loved one is kind of susceptible to viral? I would be going, okay, yeah, no problem. Feel dorky, but okay. I get it. I understood. Okay? The fact that we had to do that in a closed space, in a big room, okay, fine, I still get it. The fact that we had to do it in a grocery store, hey, I get it, totally. Whether I get hit by it hard or whether the person next to me gets hit by it to the point that they die in a week, I get it, totally understand it, because the train's still coming. It didn't matter. My entitlement, or my right, didn't include that. My common sense took over, and that's where I'm kind of running with. People lost their common sense on such a large scale 2.5 years ago. I have no answer for that. I looked around and people divided like crazy. I have seen it within my own ranks, within my own family, within my own friends. And I still will sit back, a fool on the hill, I don't give a shit. Whatever you want to call me, I'll sit back and shake my head and just look and go, I don't understand y'all. I really don't understand you all. Especially on the topic of the virus. No, I'm not wearing a mask anymore. I've wore it for a long time at my own workplace. And as many people as I deal with on a daily basis, I've probably caught it 2 or 3 times. 2 times that I can definitely say for sure, because they weren't flu, and but they tested out that way as corona. But I still have to shake my head and go, I'm not understanding where, and I'm not sure where it is in an international level, but in America, the lack of common sense that befell a huge swath of population, and it wasn't just political. It was common sense. What is common on the ground went right out the door. And I'm not sure if that has to do with social media. I'm not sure what it really has to deal with. But it sure reared its ugly head. And when it reared its ugly head, there's people out there that are still doing it. That are still standing like a spoiled brat against common sense. I feel for them. I'm glad that I lived in a part of the country when at least we were a little bit more, and I'll say it, liberal, a little bit more progressionable, where we understood on a little bit of a broader swath that we live in a world that where I really don't matter that much. I matter, but I don't matter to the degree that, I'm going to take out my rights card and flash it on my forehead everywhere I walk. I'm much too humble for that shit. Although, I'll call it out. And that's what I've done this morning. There. There's my 10 minutes. You know, love one another. That's not that hard to do. And understand each other. And if someone's freaking out, before you get offended, understand where they're coming from first. Really, understand where they're coming from. Because a lot of times we miss that. Okay, as in the coronavirus. When COVID, you know, we missed it. There was a whole bunch of people that missed it. That lost common sense in a short period of time. Okay, that's my bet. Hey, Saturday, have a great one, and always nothing but love.